Good morning, beautiful people. Today's Saturday, and part of my morning meditation prayer, I felt led to kind of share a video on this topic, something I want to remind people. So, there is something in the world that we all understand as, you know, the chakra system. Sorry, I just woke up, so sorry if my throat is messed up. Um, Ignore my writing. But there's something that we know called the chakra system. Anybody that is spiritual and even not spiritual, we all kind of know what that is. We have the crown chakra, we have the third eye chakra. I guess I should do this one as an E. We have I just realized I didn't leave space for the other one. Well, work with me, y'all. We have the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plexus. God, I just did circles, y'all. I didn't count them, so. Solar plexus, the sacral, and then the root. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the very common or the most talked about energy locations, right? Chakra systems. So anybody that knows a little bit about these chakra systems understands they come with their own colors. And I could sit here and do their colors, but that's not the point of the video. But we all know that these chakra systems have colors associated with them, right? Each color represents a location on the body and energy, where that energy is coming from. And then they say that chakras is kind of like the foundation of a person's, how do you spell aura? Let's see if I'm spelling it right. I don't know. Definitely probably spelled it wrong. They say that, the chakra is the foundation of a person's aura. And some people don't fully understand what auras are, and there's, I guess, different ways to explain them. But for the context of what I'm trying to explain here, is that your aura is basically a color that people associate with your vibe. And another word, that's a more modern way to say, oh, the vibe, right? But they're talking about your energy. When somebody says, oh, I'm just looking for a vibe, like, okay, you basically just said I'm an energy vampire. And there's nothing wrong with that, because everybody has an energy vampire moment, which basically means they're hanging out with people. They could love them or not love them, but they're hanging out with somebody specifically for that exchange of energy, to pull energy from them. Basically, the exchange of I pour into you, you pour into me. But instead of it being like a money transaction, it's an energy transaction. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's community. God has designed us to work in that way. But some people take it too far, and that's when you get into your energy vampires. But anyways, so people associate your aura with your vibe or your energy. So we could say that, let me clear that. Actually, I don't want to fully clear it. Let me see if I can scroll down a bit. Will it let me? If I make a new area. Ooh, I guess I can scroll down. Look at Apple doing its thing. Okay. So let's say somebody, and we're going to talk about the sacral. Anybody, and this, I'm using this specifically because it's a very easy and most common way to kind of explain what I'm trying to explain here. But let's say the sacral chakra. Okay. The sacral chakra is located in your, well, I don't want to say a womb, because that would be too gender specific. So like your sexual organs, the energy the energy that makes a man stand tall or makes a girl flow like a river, right? I'm being sexual on purpose because I'm leading up to this. That's not all the sacral does, but that's why I'm using it. So let's say somebody is vibrating from their sacral chakra. And if I'm saying that they're vibrating, going back to that word vibe, that just means that right now, that sacral energy is the one that's at its highest peak. That's where they're operating from. A body or a person can operate from all of their chakras at one time, but usually, not even, well, yeah, usually, I guess only people in high meditational spaces are vibrating all at one time, and that's when you start looking at people catching the Holy Ghost, having their Kundalini awakening, you know what I mean? But usually, just on your everyday kind of walking around, people are vibrating from one of their chakras, one of their energy sources, a little bit higher than the others. They're in percentages. So let's say somebody is vibrating from their sacral chakra at a higher level. Like this is right now, the one that is doing the thing. Goodness gracious. So if they're vibrating from their sacral chakra, someone's going to say their aura or their vibe, which again, vibe literally just means their energy. Y'all see what I'm trying to do here. If they're vibrating from their sacral chakra, their aura or vibe is probably going to come off as, not if they're vibrating from their sacral chakra. They're specifically vibrating from their sacral chakra in a particular way. And so the particular way I'm going to use right now is sexual, but that's not the only way a person can vibrate from that chakra. I'm just using the sexual vibration because everybody experiences sexual desire. So if somebody's like, right now my sacral chakra is vibrating high, their aura, their vibe, their energy is very sexual. Now, I'm saying all that to say that aura, and let's scroll down again. Aura is understood with colors. People understand. I am so sorry. I just woke up, y'all. I didn't drink any water. I got out the shower. I haven't even brushed my teeth yet because I was, feeling it in the shower. I was like, you know what? I need to do this. Because I used to be one of these people. And almost everybody has. Almost everybody has been a lost soul. And I'm explaining why that happens and where you can go from there. But anyways, your aura, your vibe, your energy, people associate these things with color. And by people, I say intuitive people, spiritual people, because not everybody understands that your energy can come in frequency. But energy is literally, energy again is what people are saying when they use the word vibe. Vibe literally means vibration, and that's another word for frequency. That's another word for frequency, right? Now, anybody that knows anybody that knows anything about frequency, that went way farther than I wanted it to go. If you know anything about frequency, then you know that frequency, if you think about the microwaves that we all learned about in high school, comes in a color wheel, a spectrum. Oh my God. Wow, look at high school science being useful, aka your rainbows. And I'm just saying like rainbow in the sense that it's color. Frequency in different vibrations. Those wavelengths are on a spectrum. And if you think about a rainbow and how there's different colors, it's because there's different spectrums, frequencies happening between the chemicals in the air. So I'm saying all that to say, your energy, which is a vibe, a vibration, a frequency, comes with a color, and that color is going to be your aura. By not equals, but in this instance. Some of y'all probably already know this. Great. I'm just taking it as base level as I can for people that may not fully understand. So, anyways, so now we're done talking about that. As I mentioned, all of these chakra systems come with their own colors, right? And everybody usually has seen the chakra pictures and all that. We know they have colors. Golly, Lord, what is going on with this throat of mine? I know what's going on. He's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have hopped out the shower and didn't brush your teeth, so you should probably go do that. Right, so we know that these auras come with color systems. These chakras, auras, whatever. Come on. They have their own colors. The ones I mentioned above are the most popular. But there is one that doesn't get the recognition that it should. Although I can admit it has been getting more recognition, which is honestly how I ended up coming across it, years ago. So I just want to make sure I feed into that energy of let's talk about this, and that's why I'm doing this video. There is an energy, a vibration, a frequency that is so low, a low vibe, such a low vibration that the frequency, the color, is not a very beautiful color at all. It's associated with black. Now, black, I mean, since it's not really a color, you can't really say, oh, it's beautiful, but I love the color black. And as a person that battles depression, the reason why I love black is because I've spent a lot of time with it. So I'm no longer afraid of, at this point, this is years now, y'all. At this point, I'm no longer afraid of the energy, the aura, the low vibration of black, because not only do I understand what that low vibration is capable of, I also understand and I have grace for myself in understanding how I got that low. And so for lost souls, like I said, there's a low vibe, a low vibration. This is what we call this black chakra. People talk about it more now, so you should be able to find more videos about it. And the black chakra is important because let's think about, this is a room, right? And this room is black on the inside. Now, let's put a light in there. This light is going to light up a portion of that room. Depending on how big or small this room is, this light is going to either cover some of it or it's going to be able to cover all of it, right? It depends on how big the room is and how much light there is. So if this is a smaller light, it's going to provide a smaller amount of light into that dark area, but it always will provide light. So if you're operating in this black chakra, again, that light, that frequency is so low that you don't really got no light going on. The vibration is so low, it's darkness. And this, because what do we understand? That this light bulb right here, this light bulb is representing frequency. This light bulb, its frequency is energy. And energy, as we all know, let me maybe not scroll so fast up and down. I'm just trying to be mindful. Energy, as we all know, is life. Because the sun provides us, the sun is a giant thing of energy that gives us life. That life, that frequency, that energy, if we think about the sun that gives us life, is what is making our ecosystems go round. In order to be alive, You have to, let me not do that. Let me actually do it like this. If somebody, not even somebody, because it's not a human thing, because if something is alive, this is humans, plants, even certain metals, because they, basically anything that requires energy. And that's everything. Everything requires energy, is alive. And by, even if you're having a hard time understanding those metals, I should do a better video on the metals part. But the metals, when you have something in a china cabinet, the doors are closed. Your mom is like, don't touch my china cabinet, so nobody's ever in there. How come that chinaware, that's a glass. I'm drawing a glass if you can't tell. How come that chinaware gets dusty? Where's that dust coming from? That dust is coming from particles in the air. That dust is particles, elements, shedding. That dusty stuff in that cabinet is particles, elements, shedding. Like a dog, like a human that literally sheds its skin, like a snake. Everything. Shedding is a process of cellular regrowth. It's what keeps you young. That's why as you get older, and older is different for every type of entity, but as a person, not a plant, but as a person gets older, they shed a lot more because their cells are working so hard to try to regrow that energy. Their cells are working harder because they're dying, unfortunately. So just like if you're dying, your heart will beat faster. Everything starts working harder, so it starts producing more because it's like, oh my God, we're understaffed. And so you would think that it would burn out, and that's why it does eventually, and those people pass. But we are getting deeper than I mean to. I'm saying that to say, going back up here, anything with energy is alive, right? Anything with energy is alive. And what we know from the law of energy is that energy does not cease to exist, it only changes. So it can never cease to exist. But it never says that that energy can't vibrate faster. Those particles won't vibrate faster or vibrate slower. And so at a low vibration, at a slower vibration, when something is barely vibrating, but this is what I'm trying to get to. If something is low vibrational, what does that actually mean? Low vibrational, sorry, ignore my phone, does not mean there's no vibration. Okay, get out of here. You're throwing off my pen. And there's already a cheap pen. Come on now, get on out of here. Oh my God, yes, phone. Sorry, it's telling me everything I got to do this morning. I know. Low vibrational is low. What it doesn't mean is, ooh, come on. Golly, y'all, this is why I need an Apple Pencil. What it doesn't mean is zero vibration. Scratch that. And why doesn't it mean zero vibration? Because low doesn't mean zero. 1 is a step above 0. 2 is 2 steps above 0. So even when a person is low vibrational, they're obviously still alive. Just like with metals. Metals may have a low vibration because 1, they may, in their particles, they may not require nearly as much energy as everything else on this planet. And that's something else I want to point out. Low vibration is a perspective. Now, this is important as a human. It's important, but in this context, it's important. I'm not saying that low vibrational is a perspective as in, well, low vibrational is really low to you. While that is technically true, somebody may be vibrating low, but if they are built that way according to their astrological chart, their spiritual makeup, their DNA, I could look at somebody and be like, they're vibrating so low that their spectrum barely has any color, and so they have this dark color, which is where we get to the black aura. And I'll be like, oh, they're so low. It's not just me, but like anybody intuitive would be like, oh, they're so low vibrational, blah, blah, blah. Some people use that not even understanding what they're saying. But what I know, even in saying like, or even in thinking, oh, that person's low vibrational, I understand that low is a perspective. It is just like race. It's a social construct, these words that we create. But there is truth in the fact that that frequency is not nearly as high as other frequencies, but that doesn't mean that that person is not thriving at their vibration. They're just not doing as good as other people. But that's important because if somebody is not thriving, that still means they're alive. They're still alive. And the reason why a perspective of low vibration, having a perspective of that is important, especially as a person with a lost soul, is because you need to always keep in mind that you, my beautiful, beautiful friend, are alive. You are alive. And so take out all the other people that may stop talking to you or don't want to hang out with you, or you're like, oh, I'm a burden because I'm always so sad, or I'm just so low vibrational. Now we're talking about low vibration. In this moment, I'm talking about low vibrational being sad, but there's other ways to be low vibrational. Some people are low vibrational because they are, unempathetic. Like they literally have no empathy. And so in that aspect, it's like, I don't feel anything from that person. And that's the other thing I want to bring out. A lost soul with this low vibration can be likened to somebody who is vibrating so low, right? Somebody may say, oh, they may use the wrong word and say they're soulless. Because a soul is given to us from the sun. A soul is energy. It's life. So somebody's saying like, oh, if someone says like, oh, they're soulless, sometimes people will be like, I was standing next to that person and I didn't feel anything. Sorry, this thing just fell. And my dog was there too. It's his own house. That's because he keeps bumping up against it and it's folded up. Anyways, somebody could be like, oh, I was in an elevator with this person and they just felt dead. They felt dead because their vibration, their energy is low. So that people will go around saying, oh, they're soulless, they don't have a soul, they don't have a soul. Now, I'm not here to advocate for things not having a soul, because in truth, that's almost impossible. Everything in this universe has energy, so everything has a soul. And I understand that people are using that because they don't know what else to say. But I need you, if you are somebody that's struggling in those lower depths, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling like stuck, I need you to know that you're not soulless. That literally is impossible. That's impossible. You have a soul. You have energy because you're alive. As long as honestly, I was about to say as long as your heart is beating. But your heart is beating, that really only technically matters for you to be alive as a three-dimensional human. Let's not even get into the afterlife. Let's not even get into reincarnation. And you can reincarnate as any other type of energy. You don't know what your energy is going to do when it changes. You could pass away, be a spirit for a little while, and then that energy remanifests as a plant. Don't know. That's between you and God. But, so that was the wrong thing I was going to say. But what I'm saying is literally you can never not have a soul. So what does that mean? What does that mean if you're like, okay, so thanks, Christian, for telling me I have a soul. That makes me feel better because people are telling me I'm soulless or they're telling me they don't feel anything. So I have a soul, but it's so low. What do I do with that? What do I do with this black chakra? What do I do with this low energy? Because obviously, if this energy is this low, how do I raise it? That's what a person would want to do. So if you think about the way cells, if you think about like neutrons and protons, like the way things, molecules, elements combine and detach, they combine and detach with things that match with them. You obtain a higher frequency by being around high frequency things. You obtain a higher frequency by being around high vibrational things. But it's not just being around those things. It's being around those things and your literal being, your literal soul being in a place of acceptance, being in a, not acceptance, being in a place to receive, right? And so by receive, I'm saying your soul, your energy, your vibe, right? Your vibration needs to be at a level to receive. And so receiving would give its ability to grow, to multiply, right? Which is what, if you think about molecules, but again, molecules is just another type of energy. I'm using molecules to not just be like, oh, energy, because some people, for some reason, can only picture energy as like some invisible thing. So I'm like, okay, well, let's think of a molecule. Technically, that's invisible too, but molecules, 3D, with a magnifying glass. Multiply. So anyways, your soul, your vibe needs to be at a frequency where it can receive. It needs to be at a receiving frequency. And that's how it grows and multiplies. Can you control this? Can you control when you are at a, I'm able to receive, I'm ready to multiply and grow? Can you control that? Right? Can you tell your body, hey body, hey being, hey soul, let's get to a better frequency to receive? You can and you can't. You can, because there are aspects of your frequency that you can control. And by control, I mean there are ways to manipulate your frequency, right? Like, oh, if you're sad, go for a walk. These things will, this is what we call self-care, right? This is what we call safety planning. Like, oh, do things to build up your energy. But anybody at a low vibration knows that's only half the battle. So you can and you can't, because part of it is things you are able to control. And then part of it is so deep down that your conscious can't even speak to the subconscious area. Consciously, you're like, okay, go for a walk. But there are subconscious things happening in your own body that you are unable to tap into because, well, it's called the subconscious for a reason. Sometimes you can tap into that, but even then, you will never reach the depths, which is infinite, of your subconscious. Think about how in your 3D form, you can't even get as high as to literally, like, you can't get as high as to stay on the frequency of Archangel Michael for a long time, right? If you are blessed with those type of abilities, you may have the ability to like Archangel Michael may be able to come down and reveal himself to you on your frequency. But think about that. That's not even you going up to that frequency. While you sleep, maybe spiritually you can, because if you've been blessed with that ability on a spiritual frequency. But you can't hang out there. You can't hang out in places where you're not meant to hang out. Nobody is incarnating in any facet for no reason. You're here to 11:11. You're here to experience your life, right? In whatever way that is. So, there are aspects about your being. There are subconscious aspects about your being that you will never be able to tap into, but they are working in the background. And they are so deep down working in the background, doing whatever God knows it is they got to do. Whether it's because they know they're instructed by God to be like, no, we need you this low for 5 years. You need to be in this low vibration. And 6 years was actually my story. And even still, sometimes I'm battling a low vibration. I still battle depression. I still battle major depression. But guys, it is nowhere near like it used to be. Now, obviously, it still gets kind of low. But that's why I use, as above, so below. I make sure to use these 3D doctors. Like, hey, y'all, I need some pills, okay? I need y'all to give me these antidepressants. And they do. And they help. And they help. But it's not medicine alone. We even know medicine alone. So it's like, to assume that you have the control, or not to assume, you know that. Other people can't understand that you, half the battle is you wanting, desiring, having the will to raise that vibration. Other half has nothing to necessarily do with your conscious, so you don't know what's going on. So for 5 years, that those subconscious what do you want to call them? Those subconscious particles, energies, whatever. For 5 years, those subconscious particles may be so low. They may be so low, working hard. For 5 years, these subconscious particles are at the low vibration. And you may be thinking, I went on the walks. I worked out one day. I'm taking antidepressants. I'm trying so hard. So why? Why me? Why in the world is my body, or whatever you think it is, why isn't it listening to me? Feel better. They say you can manifest feeling better. You can manifest feeling better when your frequency is at the level to which it can get into, okay, let's feel better. Not everybody is that high. Like I said, some people's subconscious particles, frequencies are so deep. Understand this. Oh, come on now, pen. Some of these subconscious frequencies are so deep. They're so deep. You and your conscious understanding cannot get that low to even consciously manipulate that. So what does that mean? That means these things down here. And I want you to think of it this way. As above, like if you're a human, right? Above is the ether. Above is what people like to say infinite possibility. What do you think is below? If above is the ether, below, and we could say ether, everything, all, but whatever, if you want to say below, and think of this in like literally your being, your essence. I want to raise my vibration higher. I want to go into the ether. Nobody usually sits around and be like, I want to lower my vibration so low, because you can't kill yourself. You can never stop the energy. Even if you kill your 3D body, that energy is doing something. So even if you wanted to vibrate so low that you stop vibrating, it's impossible. But understanding that when you get down here, so there's a level here, right? That's conscious. Oh, come on now. This is like your base. Your base kind of like, ooh, I'm in the middle. Now again, that little bit of conscious can go maybe this far down into the inner, maybe this high up into the ether. But that conscious has it has a workable spectrum. And everybody's workable spectrum is going to be different. Again, some people blessed with intuitive abilities may be able to send their conscious higher than not your average Joe, but your average Joe may be like, I'm conscious enough between, I can go from 1 to 10. Some people can go from 1 to 20. Some people can go from 1 to -10, Some people can go from 1 to -20. It depends on you and God, however God has you down here, because we are not all the same, and that's beautiful. But getting back to this inner, if somebody is vibrating this low, part of that they will not be able to reach. There is a whole difference here, right? This space right here, they can't even reach the bottom. They can't even reach the bottom because they are unable to tap into there. So what's happening here? What are these niggas doing? I say niggas. Sorry, y'all. I'm black. I can say it. But that's just how I talk. I'm somebody's auntie, so let me have my moment. What are these young ladies and young men doing down here? What are they doing? You don't know. I don't know. Only God knows what they're actually doing. But what they are doing, just like you on your conscious level, and just like you higher in the ether, what they are doing is vibrating. And so what they are doing is being alive. So you are never not working to get higher. Or rather, I should say, you are never not working to live. You are never fully dead. You can't be. You can't be. So even if you're feeling lost, even if you're in that black chakra, which means that your vibration is so low, it's so low, you consciously can't tap into it to manipulate it. There's something going on behind the curtain, so far behind the curtain, you don't even know that the janitor's name was Mike. You said I'm an actress on the front stage. You don't even know that Mike literally comes in every morning and takes out the trash because you're just so famous on the front stage. But Mike, every day, Mike comes in, takes out that trash. And so one day while you're minding your business, Mike falls sick. Mike is sick and he needs to take some days off. And so you go into the woman's bathroom, if you're a woman. You go into the woman's bathroom, you got to use the bathroom. And you go to throw something in the trash can and you're like, oh my gosh. These trash cans haven't been emptied in 3 days. Oh, what is the meaning of this? And you don't know. You have no idea because you don't even know who Mike is. But you know what you do know. You know this trash needs to be taken out. And why is it the trash getting taken out? You are able to go to somebody who is not as far back as Mike, but they're not as forward as the front stage with you. But you're able to go to like Peter and say Peter's like, he's management, he's in the middle. You're like, hey, Peter, I don't know what's going on, but the trash can ain't being taken out. You can't go to Peter and be like, Peter, where's Mike? Because Mike ain't emptying these trash cans because you don't know Mike exists. That's what I'm trying to say. There is mics happening in the background that you don't even know their names. So if you don't know their name, how are you going to be able to call it out? Now we're getting spiritual for real, y'all. How are you going to be able to call out? Now, like how they say in church, call that demon by its name and say, I rebuke you. But how are you going to call out energy that you don't know? You're not going to. But just because you can't go out and be like, Peter, where's Mike? He needs to take out the trash. Just because you can't do that doesn't mean that Mike isn't at home getting his bed rest, drinking his soup. His wife is cooking him soup every day. And he'll be back at work next week to empty those trash cans. And so when you come back, now we only talking about a week. But when you come back next week on Monday, you're like, oh my God, the trash can is empty. Thank God. Who did this? You don't even know Mike did it. You could be thinking, you go to Peter and be like, oh, Peter, thank you for finally emptying those trash cans. Peter's going to be like, I didn't empty the trash cans. And then you're going to be like, oh, well, who did it? He's going to be like, the janitors. And you'll be like, okay, but who? Because clearly the janitors, and y'all are saying janitors. You don't even know there's one because y'all are so far removed. So y'all are like, the janitors. Well, I'm so glad the janitors are back. It ain't janitors for one. It's literally one person. This is just the story I'm making up so y'all can understand. There is subconscious things going on that you can't call by name. So how can you manipulate? How can you be like, hey, Mark, could you please empty out that trash can when you get a chance? when you don't know Mark is one, the janitor, two, you ain't never seen Mark because Mark comes at night, and why would you be there at night unless you're doing a show? So what is this? You don't even know how to be like, hey, Mark, I noticed you haven't emptied the trash cans. I noticed you haven't refilled the feminine product box, and we need more tampons. You can't even ask Mike because you don't know Mike. So that's what I'm saying. But Mike, my man Mike, is still down here doing his thing. Mike is still down here. Oop, come on now. Mike, who's our little character that's out here doing it. Mike, which is that. And don't get me wrong when I say low vibration. Oh, we'll just say subconscious. But don't take it as Mike and like literally I'm calling him a low vibrational person. You know what I'm trying to say. Mike is subconsciously back there still doing his job. He is still working. He is still doing it. So understand that even though you may be feeling lost because you are not in control, you're feeling lost because you're like, I don't have any control. I'm vibrating so low, right? No control. You're all sad or whatever you got going on. This is supposed to say lost, by the way, but it looks terrible. Y'all know what I was trying to say. Anyways, so you have no control of the energy. You have no control of what Mike is doing, and so you're just sad because you're like, oh my God, the trash cans are never being emptied. But Mike is still doing his thing. Mike may not be there to empty the trash this week. He may not be there to empty the trash this week, but Mike is at home drinking soup. His wife is making him soup. He's taking his meds to try to get that infection out of his body because he's sick. Mike has his own stuff that he's doing, but he's still, just because he's not focused on the more conscious thing, just because Mike is like, I'm not able to take out the trash, which is something you're aware of, does not mean that Mike ain't still for the cause. What I'm trying to say is, you're low. Take Mike out of it, but not take him out of it. What I'm trying to say is your low vibration. That low frequency that is so low, it is not even able to really show a spectrum. So the spectrum is black. And so now you're in that black chakra. What I'm trying to say is this low vibration, this low frequency, this low spectrum is still, it is still working. It is still alive. So just because you don't know what's going on does not mean that there is something happening in the forefront. And let me tell you this. If you are a three-dimensional human, let's say you're about 5'5", however many pounds you are, right? You could be, maybe, yeah, we'll do 5'5", whatever, 5'5", maybe you're, I don't know, 135 pounds. Who cares? It doesn't matter. This is just a metaphorical person. You are 5'5", 135 pounds. You think this whole body, you're 5'5", 135 pounds, whatever those little working, whatever that vibration, that low frequency, it's going to take this low frequency to handle a problem. Like say your low frequency, you could whatever problem you're handling, it's like, oh, that's going to take 5 years. That's going to take 5 years. Because you're 5'5", 135 pounds, and the particular thing that's vibrating low, that's taking over a big portion of this because Mike is sick. You know what I mean? Let's say Mike has cancer. And don't think of it as like, oh, your body has cancer. I'm just saying that low vibration could be working on something such as cancer. And so he's going to be out for 5 years. Right? Oh, why do I keep doing that? He's going to be gone for 5 years. But you could be 5'5". So let's say it's like, this is the cancer theory, right? Let's say you're 5'5", 135 pounds. And by the way, the vibration is this is, we'll say like AKA Mike, right? Mike is is he has cancer. So he's busy for 5 years working on that. What if Mike doesn't have cancer? If Mike just has a cold, but it could still be a bad cold. Let's do this. Let's get real. Mike has COVID. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that now that I think about it. Ooh. Y'all better watch this video so that, and by y'all I mean YouTube, so that y'all understand that I'm not trying to obviously not trying to get my video taken down. Anyways, he is down there with that. And so he has low vibration, but it's like, oh, Mike got that which shall not be named. So he's only going to be out for 5 months, not 5 years. Different thing, different aspects, different. The reason why you could be vibrating low could be something a little bit more serious or something less serious. But at the end of the day, the time frame in which your mics or the time frame in which your subconscious vibration, your deep subconscious vibration is trying to work, that time frame could not be up to you. And that's okay. Everything works according to the order of God. So what you need to do is not focus on how long you could potentially be lost. You need to focus on the fact that I am doing what I can do, even if that means I just wake up every day. I'm doing what I can do. I wake up and I eat. Every time I eat, I have to throw my food, my leftover food. When I eat, that energy is going in the trash. And who takes out the trash? Mike. But if there's never trash to take out, Mike won't have a job. He's going to get fired. So you don't need to focus on, or you don't need to think about, why can't I get through this? Why can't I get through this? You can think about that, but don't harper on it, because that's not your job at this point. If you do what you can, do what you can. Do what you can do. Do what you are. Here's what you do. Do the subconscious. Do the conscious, my bad. Oh my God, I don't spell. Whatever. You do the conscious. No, I don't want to say ignore. Here you go. You do the conscious. Allow the unconscious. And it's not even really allowed, because it's going to do it anyway. So let's be real. Let's be honest. It ain't even allowed. Because it's so deep, it has really, it have nothing to do with you, but you have to accept the unconscious. That's all you can do. Do the conscious, accept the unconscious. Because, and now I'm going to get into the more popular aspect of what people know about that black chakra. The black chakra is a frequency so low, so deep, so inside, that it is mimicking. It's mimicking something we see all the time, but because we are humans and not plants, we don't think about it. Come on now. This little pen is turning off on me. Here we go. This process is mimicking like fertilization, y'all. Fertilization. This is the same stuff that be happening when a woman's body's making a baby. That deep subconscious. A woman, when she gets pregnant, she can't tell her body. She can't tell her body, take care of my baby. She can only do the conscious. And she has to accept the unconscious stuff that her body's doing, take care of that baby. The black chakra, that low, deep inside vibration that you can't control, it is fertilization. This is soil. This is where it's the only place. Is it the only place? Let me change that. It's not the only place. It's the only thing that this is doing. I should say that. This black chakra, low, deep inside, this fertilization, this soil, the only thing it's doing, not the only place. It's not the only place that does this. But the only thing this is doing, the only thing it's doing, is growing. The only thing you are doing at a low vibration is you are in a place preparing to grow. The only thing you're doing when you were deep, deep inside, when that subconscious stuff that is deep inside you, just like soil, just like when you want to plant, you have a little seed going on. You put it in the ground, you watering it, you're nourishing it. You are only doing what you can do on the conscious level. The rest of that is up to God. It's up to God's science. You can only water it and do what you can do, but there is stuff going on that is unbeknownst to you that seed needs to do in order to grow in that plot. The good thing about the black chakra, because it has one job. When you are vibrating so low, when something is vibrating so low, it doesn't have the energy to do anything else but grow. The good thing about the black chakra is that it is a reset, as close to a reset as it's going to get. And so you need to understand that while you're feeling lost, you may be lost, but do what you can do and accept that your body is doing what it is God ordained to do. Your body, like everything else, wants to be alive. Your body is alive. The basic survival. A person may want to die, but their body literally, I have attempted through my depression. I was literally in a position where my mind was ready to go. I was so ready to go that I tried. And even in trying, my body was fighting it. Because the energy is built by God scientifically, all of that, spiritually. It's, these are the same things: God, spirit, science. It's literally, science is the way God speaks. Spiritually, like, it's going to survive because energy will not stop. It'll just change. It'll just transform. And that's what you need to understand. When you are a lost soul, you're not lost. You're on a journey. You are traveling. You're traveling. Oop, come on. You're traversing this terrain, which means you're transforming. See that? You're not lost. They're not lost. You're on a journey, a destination that you may not be aware of. But just because you're not aware of it, just because you could be like, this is a metaphorical story, right? But just because the young man is like, all right, it's time for me to move out the house. He moves out the house and he's trying to, live on his own. Just because he is not stable, just because he's going, apartment 6 months there, he's trying to find a job. Just because he's not stable does not mean he's lost. He doesn't know what the end result will be, but he's learning. He's on a journey to find himself. He's traveling, he's traversing, he's transforming. And so when you are vibrating that low, the amount of energy you have is only enough to do one thing, and that is to journey its way on through it. That's the best way you will understand that. Mike, as in that low vibration has its own mission. God has already told that low vibration. God has already told Mike, go home, have your wife make you some soup, blah, blah, blah. God has already told that low vibration, hey, I need you to vibrate this low for a little while because this, and that needs to happen in this person's life. And they have no idea that needs to happen to them, and they will never understand it because I'm going to have you working in the background, keeping them low here, because what I'm about to do is turn them from a caterpillar to a butterfly. But the only way they can go to a butterfly is for it to happen to them. Caterpillars don't choose to become butterflies. They just become butterflies. But why is that? That's because there is something in their genetic makeup, their vibration, their spectrum that is telling their body, It is time to become a butterfly. But they don't know that. They're not being like, okay, time to be a butterfly now. They don't choose and be like, I'm going to do it right now. Because honestly, the way these butterflies are beautiful, if I was a caterpillar, I'd be like, I would come out the womb being like, okay, I'm gonna be a butterfly tomorrow, because why in the world would I like stay looking like a caterpillar? But they gotta wait. They gotta wait for the subconscious process, for that subconscious thing to do its thing. So you're not lost. You feel lost. On a conscious level, you feel lost. On a conscious level, people around you are saying, oh, they're lost, so I didn't feel their energy. Shut up. They need to shut up. Because they don't know. And they was lost in their life too at some point. But you need to understand that consciously you're lost. Mike knows exactly what he's doing. Mike knows, I'm going to go home, get some soup from my wife, get some meds, some whatever he needs to do, according to what he needs to do. And Mike knows if Mike's sick, Mike's like, oh, my wife needs to make me some soup. God doesn't need to tell him that, although technically in the background, spirit is telling him that. He's doing it. But it's not like Mike specifically came to you and was like, hey, actress that lives in the forefront, I just want to let you know I won't be emptying the trash this week because I'll be sick. No, Mike just does it. He just doesn't come to work. It's the same thing. You on your conscious level may be lost, but it is not just you. It is not just your conscious. Your subconscious is a whole aspect of you too. And just like how there are variations to your conscious self, just like how people wear masks, just like how people, like, oh, they know how to behave when they're around these people or do that, this conscious stuff we do, your subconscious has aspects of itself too. And so that subconscious aspect may not always even communicate with the conscious. It doesn't have to. It will do its job, because nothing is without intention. Literally nothing. Everything is happening for a reason. So my message to you is, you're not lost, you feel lost. And I understand why that's scary. But I promise you, you will transform. Because when you are vibrating that low, that's the only thing you can do. When you're vibrating that low, the only thing that comes next is to vibrate higher. Because you can't die. You will never stop vibrating. That's impossible. So if you're vibrating that low, you may vibrate that low for 5 days. You may vibrate that low for 20 years. And I'm so sorry if you're vibrating that low for 20 years. I'm so sorry if you're vibrating that low for years beyond 20. But always remember that there is a transformation happening. I can't speak to your time frame. I can't speak to why that's happening. I can speak to probably certain things if I look in depth into you, whatever. But, the main thing is that don't have like a lack of hope. Now, 35 years battling something, you know what I mean? Yeah, it can feel sad, but I can tell you from experience that each transformation happens in parts. Like caterpillar to a butterfly, but even the butterfly may pass away and who knows, reincarnate as a dandelion, and then the dandelion go through this process, pass away. Next thing you know, you're a human. You know what I mean? There is always levels to this. So I'm saying that to say, even while you're vibrating low and say it's going to take you 35 years, you will not stay the same low vibration for 35 years. But if you are at negative 100, it's going to take you like 50 years to get to zero. If you are and now why is between you and God. But don't be hard on yourself is what I'm trying to say. Don't be hard on yourself. Do what you can consciously. And as long as you are always consciously working to get through, your subconscious will do its part. And why and how do you know that that's true? Because consciously, as long as you are always on the center stage, putting on performances each week, those performances each week that you do, when people come and pay money to see you perform, that whole system is creating a job for people like Mike, who's a janitor for the building. If you stop performing on a conscious level, if you stop, performing, and every artist stops performing, whatever, say this is your special location. If you stop performing there, there's no more shows, which means there's no more ticket sales, which means there's no more money to pay for the building, which means we no longer can have as many staff, which means, honestly, the trash cans aren't being used, so Mike, you're fired. So understand that when you actively do what you can on a conscious level, you are helping your subconscious do what it needs to do, even if you don't realize it. So be gentle with yourself, okay? You're in a transformative process, and I'm sorry if it takes 35 years, but I promise you, a person that goes from negative 100 to 0 is going to know a lot compared to somebody that went from negative 10 to 0. And I know that you may be like, don't care, I don't want to be that person. Well, life isn't fair. That is unfortunate. Firsthand experience. It took me a little while to accept. Life isn't fair because everybody has their own story. So all you can do is pray for God's grace, which He will constantly give you. And by grace, I mean that energy, that opportunity, which He'll constantly give you according to who you are, your destiny. Be gentle with yourself, okay? Much love, much peace. Have a beautiful Saturday.